Why does the universe exist? Why does the world exist? Why do we exist? Such are the questions that have captivated me over the past several years. The instant I came to realize that I've habitually accepted existence as a brute fact, I found it impossible to live meaningfully without knowing why everything exists, the overarching purpose of it all. Because what's the point in living without a purpose? The question, why does the universe exist, arises from our predisposition to assume that the state of nothingness is the default state of reality. Because, of course, it is the simplest. After all, if nothing were to exist, there would be nothing to explain and no one to demand an explanation. Furthermore, it's usually simplicity which reigns in nature. Therefore, I think a reality that consists of anything other than nothingness, like the one we currently live in, demands an explanation. So to answer the question, why does the universe exist, consider the following axiom. For every event A that occurs, there's a preceding event B which caused it. So by this reasoning, we should be able to work backwards all the way back to the cause of the universe to potentially find an answer to the ultimate question, right? No. However, we are faced with a dead end when we try to do so. It's the Big Bang. It's a theory that states our universe exploded out of a singularity and inflated into the cosmos we know today. The Big Bang is like an impenetrable barrier of information. We don't know what occurred before it, we don't know what happened before it, and we don't know what caused it. So how are we to proceed from here? Is this an unsolvable cosmic mystery that will always torment us? But let's ask, will identifying the cause of the Big Bang really solve all our problems? Okay, let's assume that we did find the cause for the Big Bang. Now, feeling delighted with ourselves, having solved the mystery that has puzzled scientists for over a century, a new question would arise. What is the cause for the cause of the Big Bang? And the cause for that cause? And the cause for that cause? We would seek explanation upon explanation leading us nowhere. It would be a never-ending cycle. Does this mean that there is no first event that caused the universe? Because there's an infinitely long series of events that lead to our present day? Or is it that our initial assumption about there being a purely scientific explanation for the cause of the universe erroneous? Well, we simply don't know. However, some physicists, one of them being Stephen Hawking, who unfortunately passed away last month, speculate that the universe may be attributed to a random fluctuation in the void. Now, this insinuates that our life is meaningless because something that arises by random chance certainly has no purpose, right? And this is a rather disappointing outcome for a purpose-driven species like ours. And because life, it's a random occurrence, it's a coincidental progression of events if the universe arises from a random fluctuation. So now with this notion that life is meaningless, one might ask, why even bother living then? But having a reason not to live does not equate to having a reason to die. Emil Cioran, a Romanian philosopher and essayist of the 20th century, once said, "Only optimists commit suicide, optimists who no longer succeed at being optimists. The others, having no reason to live in the first place, why should they have any reason to die?" He also wrote, "I'm simply an accident. Why take it all so seriously?" Now, extending upon his question, does it really matter if we exist or not? I mean, even if humanity didn't exist, the universe would continue doing its thing, reality would still be reality, and nothing would change. Whatever we accomplish in life, whatever we do, it's all the same. It's insignificant to the universe. And the 80 years of our lifetime is virtually no time at all compared to the billions of years the universe has existed. So what's the point? The fact is, we don't really matter. Nothing really matters. This can be comforting to some because we know that whatever happens in life, it's all the same. However, it can be disappointing to realize that there is no fundamental meaning to life, and this is the true nature of reality. Now, speaking of reality, our very senses limit us from perceiving the true nature of reality, or rather the lack of them. Our senses are an integral part of how we interact and experience the outside world, but they unequivocally aren't complete. How can we be sure that the five senses that we have enable us to perceive reality in its fullest? How do we know that it gives us a full picture of reality? Take, for instance, the blind star-nosed mole. It probably thinks that it experiences the fullest possible reality, because why should it think otherwise? But we, of course, know that it's missing out on the colorful world that we humans are privileged to experience. Similarly, it would be ignorant of us to assume that we are experiencing the fullest possible reality. However, we are special, unlike the star-nosed mole, because we are able to use the materials around us to build tools which enable us to detect things our primitive senses can't. For instance, we have infrared sensors to detect infrared light, we have compasses for magnetic fields, and recently scientists in the US detected gravitational field waves from merging black holes at the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. It's marvelous and all that we're able to build such sophisticated devices to detect things, to make up for our rudimentary senses. But there's a catch. We can't be sure that the materials available to us on Earth, or anywhere else in the universe for that matter, are sufficient to construct the tools necessary to detect all the ways energy can propagate. What if there's a new form of energy propagation that doesn't interact with matter? We would never be able to detect it, and hence it would always be hidden from our view of reality. So we would always have an incomplete view of reality. This being the case, how can we ever be sure that we've reached the maximum possible understanding of the universe? Is all scientific research for the ultimate answer futile, because it's always impossible for us to know about the part of reality that we can't detect? No. Even if it seems impossible for us to know everything there is to know about the universe, this shouldn't stop us from trying. No one ever achieved anything without trying. If we seek to discover and learn new things about the universe and expand our knowledge about the universe, we can at least try to find out if there's a higher purpose worth living for. I think this pursuit for knowledge is the purpose of life. But what if you're someone who believes in a divine creator who called the universe into being out of nothing? This creator would most certainly not put our universe into motion and then give no further interest in it. Imagine if you were the creator. Wouldn't you be interested to find out how your creatures evolved, to make sure that they turn out well? I think you would. So how might this creator communicate with us and help us discover the laws of nature and teach us how to conduct ourselves? Andrei Linder, an accomplished Russian physicist who contributed tremendously to the Big Bang Theory, postulates that the universe the creator creates would have the power to manipulate the physical constants in the universe. Now, the numerical ratio of the proton's mass to the electron's mass might seem utterly arbitrary to us, but there's no apparent reason they should take the value they do other than some other value. Why, for instance, is the speed of light around 300,000 meters per second and not 400,000 meters per second? The creator, by fixing certain values for these constants, could in theory write a subtle message into the very structure of our universe, and such a message would only be legible to physicists. So, as the inhabitants of this creator's world, it is in our interest to find out more about this creator, and the only way we can do this is by studying the world around us, as to do so is to study God. So regardless of whether you think the genesis of the universe is attributed to a random fluctuation in the void, or you think it's the act of a divine creator, the closest we will ever get to grasping the true nature of reality is through science and education. These are the only industries I personally deem worthwhile, because being at the forefront of scientific research is the closest one can ever get to getting a full grasp of reality. Hence, even if you're religious, or even if you're atheist or anything else, The closest you can ever get to your divine creator is by understanding our true reality. Albeit a new discovery about the world arises new questions about it, which when answered arise even more. And it appears like an interminable cycle. I think this is the purpose of life, the process of incessant discovery and learning. Thank you.